to drive over and why. These bushes, guarri bushes, very fast growing, very common, very flexible wood. They often just pop back up. These bushes, or this small tree, you don't. It's a baby tambueti. It's very slow growing, very hard wood, and it's not going to jump up in place. And it is also a protected species. So generally we choose which bushes we drive over, depending on how quickly they can recover. Now you must remember, a lot of the bushes we drive over as well are far more fed on and broken by elephants. Take this red thorn, for example. It is expired, and that's not from us driving over it. That's from an elephant breaking it apart and completely destroying it. So most of the acacia species are fine. The ones we don't really drive over, baby leadwoods, baby tambuetis, and even here, this is a medium-sized leadwood, and the elephant's pushed over. So baby tambuetis, baby leadwoods, baby jackalberries, baby scotias. We don't really drive over sneezewood. Some of the other gardenias, some of the more rare and slower growing plants, but stuff like guarris, terminalias, combretums, they are all fine. Now it's always very important to know, because if you look at this, you wouldn't have a clue. You shouldn't drive over that. But that again is another baby tambueti, and they do take a long time to get to adult size. Okay, well, it sounds like unfortunately Nkanyeni went to the north, but hopefully there's something else wandering around the plains of the cheetah. Let's go have a look with Jamie.
It does indeed sound as though Nkanyeni has gone to the north, and I took a chance in the hope that perhaps she was back here. But she isn't. Most devastatingly, it sounds like, from what I can hear on the Game Drive radio, sounds like they've found her just a few hundred meters north of Cheetah Plains boundary. Because I'm obviously destined not to see Nkanyeni. I still haven't seen her. It's been a year that we've been driving on Cheetah Plains, and I still have yet to see Nkanyeni. However, Nkanyeni is a good case in point of leopards disappearing for a very long period of time. And of course, we've all been talking about Karula and the fact that she's been largely absent. It happens. It probably happens more than we realize, actually. And I don't think it's a reason to panic just yet. I really don't. I have a strong feeling that Karula is absolutely fine somewhere. We won't know for certain until we see her again. But I have oh, well, bye then. Wildebeest. Off goes normal Norman. And he's vanished. What was I talking about? Oh yes, Karula and Nkanyeni. I have a strong feeling that Karula is absolutely fine somewhere, but Nkanyeni's a good, she raises a good example of a leopard that vanished for months on end. Admittedly, she's just emerged now with suckle marks, or that's what we've been told by the other guides, which is exciting. It means that Nkanyeni has had cubs. But that's why she vanished for so long. Poor little Vitomi. The last time we saw him, he was all alone, catching terrapin and scavenging off buffalo carcass. Either way, it's just a nice example to raise. Nkanyeni disappeared for a while. She's back, she's happy, she's healthy, and she probably has cubs, which is very, very exciting news. I don't know where Vitomi is. I don't think he's been seen for quite a while either. But I know that he likes to spend a lot of time around this area. So, Nkanyeni is not here, and poor old Rebecca is trying to talk to me. Shall we try that again, Rebecca? I think you asked me a question. That's what Rebecca sounds like in my ear. Hold on a minute, Bex, before I panic and link across to somebody else, let me just get up onto the slope and maybe I'll be able to hear you. Let's go all the way up here. Whee! Let's go fast. Okay. Hello, Rebecca. It's lovely to hear your beautiful voice in my ear once again. What were you trying to say to me? Ah, there we go. Okay, I got the end point of that, I think. I'm going to encourage you all to send through your questions and your comments, and you can do that using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Please do send through your questions and your comments. And I think since we haven't had any luck with Nkanyeni, we should start going to Thandi. That's what we should do before it gets too dark, because of course with her cub being as young as he is, we can't spotlight him. But I'm hoping that Thandi's still in the same area she was this morning, and then I get to catch up with my personal favorite female and her gorgeous cub with his large ears. James says he doesn't have large ears. I think he does. So while I studiously make my way across to Chitwa, it sounds as though Brent is taking it easy this afternoon.
Indeed, I'm taking it easy under another beautiful big tree. Now, this is sort of the last of the really big tree species that we get here. It is the Scotia, or weeping boerbean. Now, this particular one is quite a special one for me, because sitting atop right here was the last place I saw one of my favorite leopards, Djuma. Oh, hello, Herbie, stop. It's an Ndlovu, it's seen us, it's coming towards us. There's an elephant coming towards us. Come here, Craig. It's a big bull. His ears are out. He's definitely interested in us. I think he's actually tracking our scent. So I don't think he can see us. He can probably hear me. That's why I clicked my fingers. But everything's fine. I think he's just curious and he's smelling our tracks where we walked. Hello, big boy. This is a lovely surprise. I want to see if it's the same. Oh, it's a young boy. It's not the same one that we were on bushwalk with a few mornings ago, but he's been having a lovely mud bath. He's probably close on 30. Small tusks though, but we're in a perfect spot. We're up high on a termite mound, and I'd actually love him to come a little bit closer. You're more than welcome, gentle old man or young man. Come say how's it. Cedar Point is wondering how good is an elephant's eyesight. Oh, he's going to have it looks like he might have a rub. Cedar Point his eyesight is better than I think people give them credit for, but it's not nearly as good as a lion or a leopard. They rely heavily on their sense of smell and hearing, but they can definitely see. There we go. You can see he's relaxed now a bit. He's going to start feeding. So I think we're going to. There we go. He might come. As I said, he might come closer to us. Now, isn't that amazing? That massive animal snuck up on us. He was so quiet, and the only reason I saw him before Herbie is because I'm way up on this termite mound, and Herbie was just beyond. So where Herbie was, he was looking into bushes, or he's disappearing. I think we might follow him for a little bit. So Herbie was below, and I could actually see above the bushes from where I was up high here. And he had his ears out, and his trunk was on the ground, and he was smelling us coming towards us. Oh, I do love an elephant bull on foot. They are very special. And he looks to be quite relaxed. The wind is in our favor. It's coming from where he was to us. So I think what we'll do, I think he's going to feed along this little riverbed, so we're going to go see if we can get another view of him. Oh dear. But before we do that, I've got a thorn in my toe. Okay, thorn is gone. See, this is the amazing thing about being live in the bush. We were sitting there talking about trees, and a beautiful elephant bull just wandered into us. You never know what's going to happen next. Also, if you want to ask questions like Cedar Point just did, hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. I can just make him out there. So again, why I think it's nice and safe for us to approach, he's gone down into a river system. So we're still keeping the high ground. I think that's him through there. Let me just double check. Now you might just keep walking through. So my comms are breaking up a little bit. I can't hear the name, but I heard the question, which was, do elephants require a high intake of calcium? Beck, there we go. And Beck, they do, and they get that calcium generally from soil and eating soil. And he's just as quickly as he has arrived, he disappeared. And just try to look from a bit further ahead. So I don't want to give up my high ground advantage. I can hear him feeding, but I don't think he's gone all the way down into the river system. So he's just on the thickets, and we can hear him feeding here. So we're not actually going to go any closer now. He is in a very thick area. So what would happen is if we did try to get closer to him now, we might give him a surprise, which we don't want to do. So we just, there we go. We can hear him in this really thick area here. But what we can do is be patient. I think what we'll do is go sit down, just up from here. And yeah, he's right there. So what we can do is we're going to move and wait a little bit away, and hopefully he's going to feed out into the open. Can just see the tops of the trees moving where he's feeding. Okay, so we're not going to go in there. Let's go across to Byron, who's looking for another male member of the Big Five.
I am indeed, Brent. I'm trying to look for these lions. Now, I know they were apparently in this area this morning, but it appears as if they moved from their original position, but I don't know where to. I'm trying. I mean, it's so thick at the moment too, so it's a bit difficult to find them. Let's see. I don't think they're down here. It can be quite difficult at times to find these animals. I suppose if it was easy, they wouldn't be wild animals, would they? See if I can get out of here. Oh dear. See, I forgot how to drive, everyone. That's the other problem. And to maneuver these cars through the bush sometimes when you can't see the big logs and branches, not ideal. I don't think they would have moved off. Not yet. It's still very, very hot. I'm sure they're around here somewhere. What we'll do is have a good look carefully. And then I might just send Senzo on foot. He can go and look for them. Let's head back to Brent quickly, see how the elephant's going, and then we'll keep you updated with the lions.
Well, he hasn't popped out, and I said we're just trying to get ourselves into a spot that I think is a good spot to wait for him to pop out. Now, all I can do is just see the tops of the branches moving when he's feeding, but it's very... well, it's not constant. It's every now and then you just see the flicker of a branch. So directly behind that little whitish dead tree, Craig. Can hear him. Can hear him chewing. I was really hoping he was going to walk. Can you hear him breaking branches? It sounds like he might be on the move again. There he is. He's going to pop out here, Greg. Okay. So you can see, I can just, every now and then, there he comes. You see him? I spotted his tusks before I actually saw him, just the white through the thick. Hello, boy. There he is. Such magnificent animals. Hi, Reese in Scotland. Let's just move a little bit, yeah. Reese is wondering, do Asian and African elephants behave differently? And Reese, I would say their general behavior is exactly the same. But I unfortunately, I can only speak from African elephants. I haven't spent any time with Asian elephants. Okay, let's just go over it quickly. Get in a good spot. Perfect. So again, I'm maintaining my high ground. I'm quite sure he's aware where we are. Oh, he just let off a rumble. Hi, boy. Yay, stop and feed beneath us. Let's see. Craig, let's see if we go a little bit higher on the termite mound. It's the joys of such a big termite mound. It's not often I get to say I'm taller than an elephant at the moment, but I am at the moment. There he is, walking. Gentle giant. Now he could be heading towards the mud wallows. Although he looks like he's wallowed recently, he wouldn't say no to another good mud bath. What I'm really hoping he does is he cuts from there towards the Mawati and digs in the sand for some clean water. So spectacular. I just get such a sense of well-being when I spend time with elephants on foot or on a vehicle. Now I think we're going to move around, see if we can get another good view of this beautiful elephant bull. While we do that, let's go back to Byron with the big cat.
Yeesh, that's my daughter. Now, have a look at, we managed to find these lions. They were hidden just off the road, a little bit further down, but our searching paid off in the end. Now they are still resting, just as I thought. It is still very, very warm, and they are still resting, breathing quite heavily, and it's because they're just so hot. Two beautiful big males. Now, I didn't quite get a good look, but I think these are Birmingham males, if I'm not mistaken. Don't see why there would be any other lions in the area. Always nice to see these coalition members around these big male lions. And I'm hoping that these two males do end up calling a little bit later for us. You never know. I'm going to sit here patiently and wait. Hopefully they wake up before the end of the show. We've got at least an hour left, which is nice. And so it should cool down. The sun will set. Hopefully they get up and move around. Possibly head towards the water hole and have a drink. That would be nice. And then maybe, just maybe, a wonderful territorial call. But you can see at the moment with this long grass, it's not easy to spot them. They are very, very well camouflaged and well hidden. There's a lovely temperature now. It is starting to cool down slightly, and there's a cool breeze which has picked up a bit. A bit of clouds in the sky. I think we are going to have a beautiful sunset. Now Rebecca says it's 29 degrees Celsius. Wow, it actually feels a lot cooler. So I wonder if it's because of this breeze, perhaps, Rebecca, that we think it's a bit cooler than that. That's about 84 degrees Fahrenheit, but like I said, it feels much cooler than that out here. So we've had a really, really lucky afternoon. It's, I mean, with those elephant and there's quite a lot going on. The hippo, got to see the hippo. So not a bad first day back, I think. Oh, there we go. It's so interesting to see how often male lions like this will lie just about on top of each other. Look at that. I mean, he flopped over right on top of his brother. Now, all of you are saying you're very happy that Senzo found the lions. You see, every now and then you just need to put a bit of bait out and the animals will come. Senzo, would you walk out and look for lions? Would you? Sure, you're brave. Senzo's nodding his head. Some other people just joined us in the sighting, which is nice. As I said, it's always great having foreigners or guests in the area enjoying these sightings with us. Like I said, we're just going to sit tight for a while because I don't think they're going to move anytime soon or just yet, maybe a little bit later. Now, I said that I think we're going to have a beautiful sunset from a golden mane to a golden sky with Jamie. Let's go and have a look.
A beautiful golden sky indeed, and Byron was absolutely correct. We are indeed going to have a gorgeous sunset. We are having a gorgeous sunset. Just look at that. Take a second to take it in without my voice piercing over it. Lovely. Okay. Right, now that we've taken a moment to appreciate the sunset, you can all come and get lost on Chitwa with me. I've only ever seen the Chitwa map once, when we first started driving on it. And since then, I've just been following my nose every time I come onto Chitwa, which is interesting, because we're about to go and search for Thandi. Brent did give me directions. But I'll see if I can figure them out. I'm sure we got this, Fergus. Fergus pointed out that I could just pretend I wasn't lost and he wouldn't know any different, which is fair enough. He has only just started driving these roads. Ah, but Rebecca has our GPS and knows where we are. So does that mean you can stop us from crossing over into another property, Rebecca? Actually, our signal won't let us get there. Just by the way, Shungile has been found on a property known as Vessels. She apparently has spent the middle of the day wandering around the Chitwa camp, and she went past even further south. So that's where Shungile is. So at least I was right about Shungile's tracks. I really thought I was going completely barking mad, but I wasn't. I was right. Huh. I felt for sure I would have found a road that goes to the left by now. Ah well. This is half the fun of driving a relatively new property. Let me see if I can figure this out. It's interesting that Shungile is so far into this particular part of Chitwa. It's far more Thandi's territory. I'm going in search of Thandi, so while I go off and get completely lost, let's send you back across to our very sleepy lions.
These lions are indeed still sleeping, Jamie. We've still sitting here patiently. There's a bit of rolling around, but doesn't look like there's going to be any activity just yet. But we'll sit here patiently. We'll wait, see what happens. It's so funny to see these big males rolled on their backs. So I'm having a little giggle at Rebecca telling us about the strapping on the... Anyway, look at these males. They're still relaxing. And when it's so hot, you can remember those bellies, to be honest, they look fairly full. I wonder if they've eaten recently. I'm not sure. Like I said, I've been away for about a week. So it's good to be back, and this is a wonderful start. Previous time I was here, we actually didn't. No, we did. We saw one of the males mating with a female from the Styx Pride. So I wonder if they were successful. That would be nice. Have some new cubs in the next few months, perhaps, if they were successful. You can see there are a lot of flies around still. There's tails flicking backwards and forwards, keeping the flies away. So Mary, you asked about the coalitions and when new coalitions will come in and fight for territory, and will they wait for the males to separate? I think that's what I heard from Rebecca. Now, Mary, the thing is with coalitions, when they are being challenged by new coalitions, that you see often. Okay, firstly, what happens is these males will patrol their territory constantly. Sometimes you'll see two of them together, sometimes you'll see all four together, occasionally you might see one, but they are constantly patrolling through their territory. Then what happens is if a new coalition comes into the area, often they might call, or the calling by these males will attract other males, and they will then bring them, or they will then come into the area and potentially try and fight these males for that territory. The thing though is that if they do fight the other males, if there's a male that's by himself, he will probably call to alert his brothers and they will come and help him if he's outnumbered. Otherwise he'll stand and defend his territory. So it all depends. It all depends on the situations. It depends on when they actually find them. It depends on a number of things. So it's hard to say. I don't think they would necessarily wait or consciously wait to see if one's by himself. New coalitions, if they do come into the area, they might not know how many lions are around. They might not have ever bumped into these males before. So it's difficult to say. The one thing, Mary, that I can say is that nature changes all the time. The animal behavior changes regularly. There's no set rule. So you might have a coalition that comes in and specifically goes and seeks out one of these males at a time, and then there could be males that come in and just decide to take on all four of them at the same time. There's no set rule. There's never a set rule. Not in nature. These lions, these big males are doing what they do best, is resting. Now, some people have said to me before, these, we're going to see lazy lions again or sleeping lions. That's not the case. They're not lazy, not at all. And lions are clever. They're conserving their energy. Later, they're going to be active. We see very little of what lions actually get up to. And they fight and they mark territory and they look for females and they're constantly moving around, especially in the evenings. I mean, they do move around during the day too at times, especially in the winter. But now in summer it's hot. They prefer to relax, conserve their energy and move around later. So lions are definitely not lazy. They're just clever. I've seen lions, males resting just like this. And with, you would think, completely fast asleep, not interested in anything. And we were sitting with them for a while. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, hot afternoon. And a impala just accidentally bumped into and walked straight into these lions. But as it smelt them, it tried to run past them. But just the sound of the impala alerted the two males, and they were up. When I say a flash, it was so quick. They were up and they actually grabbed the impala, pulled it down, killed it, and ate it. Right there in front of us in a matter of seconds. It was so quick. So it just shows you they are still always aware of what's around them, what's going on. There's different sounds, different smells. So don't think if a lion is resting like this that it's asleep and doesn't know what's going on around it. Is there full moon tonight, Mareka? These lions might turn into werewolves. No, Mareka, the only thing that the full moon will affect the lions is possibly hunting. Now, what happens is the full moon gives the prey a bit of an advantage because the antelope species and that now have additional light to their aid. So they are able to see a lot better at night, so they might see the predators a bit better. So if anything, it might make it a little bit more difficult for predators to hunt in the full moon, as opposed to new moon when it's very, very dark. So that, I would say, would be the only advantage or disadvantage of a full moon. Especially when those animals are out on the clearings, it's very, very light. We can even see quite clearly on full moon evenings. It's clear enough, but their eyesight is even better than ours, so they will be able to see very clearly on a full moon night. So don't worry, we won't get any werewolves tonight, I don't think. All these lions won't turn into werewolves. James sometimes turns into a bit of a werewolf, especially full moon. Don't tell him I said that. Oh, Lily, interesting question. You asked which lions are most likely to challenge these males, these Birmingham males. Now, Lily, I don't know of any other coalitions in the north at the moment. You know, in the south, there was the... now I need to get this right. There were the Majinga lion males were around for a long time. Then they got pushed out by the Matimba males. But then the Majinga lion males came back, chased the Matimba males out somehow. Don't know how. The Matimba males apparently fled all the way north into the Manyaleti, and I don't think they've been seen again in this area. Then there are two other males known as the Machapiri males down in the south. But again, they'll probably set up territory there and maybe challenge the Majinga lion males. I don't know of this area if there are any males coming into this area potentially looking to challenge. I haven't heard of anything yet from anyone else. Might have to chat to some of the other guides. Maybe they've seen some activity in Buffels Hook, closer to the Manyaleti, maybe around there. There might be lions trying to extend on their territory a little bit. That's great. Rolling males. Gremlins General, you asked if I had met the Mapocho lions in the past, and I was fortunate enough I did meet the Mapocho male lions. Now that was another coalition, originally 6 male lions that were dominant over just about the whole Sabi Sands. They were greatly feared, beautiful big males. Now the Mapocho then split up and they started to patrol different parts of their territory, and we got to see 2 or 3 of them on Londolozi actually fairly frequently. They hung around there quite a lot. Excuse me, that was the central part of their territory. So I tracked those lions many times, found them on foot, and got to view them many times when I was guiding there. And then in 2010, that is when the Majinga lion males came down into this area and started looking for a potential territory. And that's when they fought with the Mapocho. One of the Majinga lion males was killed first by 2 Mapocho, and then the 4 Majinga lion males then killed one of the Mapocho males and chased the other one off to the west. And that western sector was a bit of a retirement area, I think, for male lions. A lot of the old male lions in the past headed off into that western sector. There wasn't as much competition there, and that's where they would eventually die. And that's what happened to the Mapocho males. They eventually died in that area, and the Majinga lion took over in 2010. And so it was interesting time to see, or to be around, and great to see all the activity with the lions. But it was wonderful to see. I'm going to sit here a little bit longer. Jamie's still got a beautiful sunset she'd like to show you.
It's still the same sunset, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And the one wonderful thing about the Chitwa airstrip is that it gives us this almost unimpeded view of the Drakensberg mountain range. This is right at the end of the Drakensberg mountain range. It stretches all the way through South Africa and finishes up here in the Lowveld. And it gives us these spectacular views. It really is a very, very pretty mountain range. I've spent a lot of time driving round and exploring those mountains. There are some spectacular views there as well. Right, so obviously we're on the airstrip. Did I intend to be on the airstrip? Yes, but no. I knew I was moving towards the airstrip, so I figured I'd come back onto the airstrip and figure my way out from there. So onwards we go, and back to carrying on. And of course I forgot we've got the infrared system on the vehicle, so we don't have to worry too much about the sun setting. But it would be ideal to find them before the sun sets. But just in case you're worrying about the fact that we haven't had a chance to go into that sighting, there have also been vehicles with her. So we're still waiting for our turn in the lineup. I was just hoping to try and find her before then. Alright, so while the sun sets, sorry, I love this airstrip. While the sun sets, I think it's time to send you across to Brent, because it's probably time for him to be heading home.
Well, it is nearly time for us to say goodbye. We managed to follow that elephant for quite some time, all the way from Mumba Road area where we were sitting under that big scotia to Chelepan, and then he went into some really thick bush, so we couldn't follow him further. And of course, it is getting dark, and there are 2 male lions on the property, and I don't want to be wandering around when they get moving, because at night, I'm not the dominant predator, I'm just part of the food chain. And far too low for my liking. So Craig, aka Batman, aka Eeyore, Herbie and myself will be saying a bon nuit, good night. Have a fantastic rest of the drive with Byron and Jamie, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning for another live adventure from the African bush. The sun is setting, there's some beautiful clouds up in the sky, so we're going to give you a last look at that magnificent sky before we send you back across to Byron and the creatures I want to avoid while walking around on foot in the twilight. Good night, see you tomorrow morning.
Now, we just changed our position slightly. Brent, don't worry, these lions are still lying down, so I think you'll be okay. Make it home safely. I wonder if Brent is cooking for us tonight. Don't think so. Hope not. John, all the way from Colorado, a good evening to you, or good day to you. You're probably starting your day. John, coalition members or coalition sizes can vary substantially. You may get a coalition of 2 brothers. The largest I've seen is obviously 6 males. I have heard of rumors of about 8 or 9 males. I've never seen it myself. I mean, that is not something that happens often, but it can happen. So, I think on average, I think it's between 3 and 4, especially in this area, this part of Kruger, where we are. What I've seen in the past and in other areas, coalition sizes have been between 3 and 4. 3 and 4 males. So I'm just going to reposition slightly. I just want to give, there is another vehicle that's heading in. Just want to give them a little bit of space so they can also have a nice look. I'm just going to reverse slightly. That's okay, we should still have a nice view from here and they can see from where they are, even if they come around. Just going to change this light. Is that okay? Sure. I'm starting to believe Rebecca again on that temperature of about 29 degrees. It does feel like it's warming up again. It was getting cooler. Now it's not. It's definitely still warm, and I think that's why these lions are not interested in moving. Now, excuse me a second, let me just chat to someone. Go ahead, Yuri. Affirmative, Yuri. Make your way. Just in front of me, you'll get your best view. Just the 2 males at the moment. So, Lionheart, you asked, is there potentially a kill around here? Now, I don't see anything. I haven't seen any sign of a kill, and I haven't seen any vultures around, so I don't think so. I don't think so. Alright, now, so don't forget everyone, I was just on the radio there to one of the other vehicles, and as I said, just reposition so they can also get a view. We are in an area where there are a number of lodges and people are on safari, so it's nice that we're able to help one another to find the animals, and we are in radio contact, so if we do find something, we can radio and update other people that might be in the area that are looking for the same animals. So that's why we do often chat on the radio, and it's just a game drive channel. It's just purely between the guides. There's no control room that monitors it or anything like that. It's just between the game drive vehicles. So the guides know where we are operating, and if we see any tracks, we can maybe go out into that area and help them. So it is important that we do stay in contact. It's nice. It makes it a little bit easier. It's not always easy to find animals, but it makes it a little bit easier when you have got help out there and you are checking different roads and different areas. So that's what I was just chatting on the radio now to one of the other guides. Now the big question comes, do we sit and wait for another half an hour or so, or do we move on and see if we can't find something else? Why don't I put that question out to the viewers? Let me know, what do you think? What would you like to do? I'm easy, so you let me know. Would you like to sit here a little bit longer with these males, see if they do potentially get up and move around? Shall we move on and see what we can find with the spotlight, if anything? It's difficult. It's difficult. These lions could lay here for another hour and a half or so, or they could get up and move around in the next 5 minutes. But why don't you tell me what you would like to do? So while you think about that and let me know, let's head back to Jamie and get an update on her sighting.
Perfect timing. We are just about to go in and catch up with Thandi. So hold on one second. I just need to chat to the person who's still in here. Station with Thandi for Jamie. Do you mind if I join you? Copy that, thank you. Awesome. Okay. One of the guides is just letting me know where the leopards are and where the leopard cub is. We can make our way in. Starting to get quite dark now, and as I mentioned, we won't be able to spotlight the cub, but the wonderful thing about that is that got it. Yeah, I'm just gonna go around her. There's a road here that'll bring us to her. Well, the wonderful thing about this is we've got the infrared, so we don't have to worry about it. Let's see. There we go. Hello, girlie. Let's just stop here for now. We'll go and get a better view once the other vehicle has moved out. But for now, there we go. The dangling legs and feet of Thandi, who looks thoroughly uncomfortable. That looks like the most uncomfortable branch in the entire world. And I mean, we've seen some leopards in some uncomfortable positions before. This is something special. Hey, girl. There you go. Looking very happy and very full. So this is, I've mentioned that this is my favorite leopard, and it's difficult. I mean, I'm saying it quite loosely because we love all of our leopards. But I will never ever forget the moment that we saw her saving her cubs from those baboons. And that, I think, was the moment that really truly cemented her in my heart. So just for those of you that perhaps didn't see that particular sighting, it was quite spectacular. Thandi came, all of a sudden she was sleeping in a tree with, oh no, she was sleeping on the ground. She'd killed 3 adult impala, and we weren't even sure if her tiny, tiny cubs were with her at that stage. And all of a sudden she got up and raced off into the vegetation around her, and we saw these baboons come racing out, and everything was so panicked. There was only when we went through the footage afterwards, Liam and myself, and we actually watched what had happened, and we saw how close the big male baboon came to grabbing one of her cubs that was only about 2 months old at the time. And it was literally reaching its hands out to grab it, and the little cub managed to duck around and away from the reach of the baboon, and then Thandi stepped in, and she was running in front of the baboon, leading them away slowly, slowly, definitely not running full pace, in order to move them away from her little ones and distract them. And she did. She saved both of those young cubs. Unfortunately, Thamba's sibling did not get lucky a couple of weeks later and was caught by one of the Styx lionesses, which happens. That is one of those things. It's tragic, but it is what predators do in order to remove competition. But Thamba is still alive and well, and we'll go and have a look at him in a little bit. So I'm spotlighting Thandi, obviously, because Thamba's actually quite far away from where she is, and it's still not fully dark. But we'll be switching to infrared a little bit later. Okay. Fergus, I think we should go and reposition so we can see her face. I think that's what we should do. Tim, you raise a very valid point. Tim would like to know how on earth Thandi managed to get herself into that position. Your guess is as good as mine. She must have reversed onto that branch, because there's no way she could have gone forwards. So she must have reversed on. Don't ask me. Leopards are like house cats. They do find themselves in really strange places sometimes. Whoop. Sorry, Fergus, did I hit you on the head there?
No, like a cat.
Alright, while we do some shuffling around just to get a better idea of how the ground is laid out here, let's go back to Byron and see if he is going to stay with his lions.
So it sounds like most of you would like to stay here for a while, so we are going to stay for a while then. See, there's been a bit more movement, but more just tossing and turning, I suppose, than anything else. I'm going to see if we can put our infrared on. And let's just see if it works. So it's warming up still, I think. So let's give it a few more minutes, and then we'll use our infrared and view these lines, see what that's like. Now, Ryan, the rights to mate within a coalition are definitely divided. There's a nice little yawn by both males, actually. Little yawns. That's a good sign. So, Ryan, there is a hierarchy, a dominance hierarchy within coalitions. There will be one male that is more dominant than the rest, than the others, and he will be able to mate first with the female that he finds is in estrus. However, females may then go and mate with the other males afterwards. The reason for that is because they want to ensure the safety of their cubs. So what they do is they will mate with various males from the same coalition, though. And also what happens is then the males recognize the scent of the female and recognize the scent of the cubs, so they assume it's their cubs, so therefore they'll protect them. But also, even if they aren't the fathers, even if they haven't mated with their female, they do still recognize that it's their bloodline, because it may be their brother's offspring. So then they will tolerate them, and they will still protect that pride against other coalitions coming into the area. Still a few biting flies around at the moment. Well, we've got some on us. I'm sure the lions have some on them. A lot of birds giving their final call for the evening or for the day before they settle down. Let's see if we can hear some of them. A lot of francolins at the moment. And as I say that, they all go deadly silent. There we go. There's still some cuckoos around. That's a Levalin's cuckoo calling in the distance. That's interesting. So there are still a few cuckoos around. They haven't migrated yet. So, no, I think... Yeah, there's the Franklin's just stopped. There we go. There's a Franklin calling. Oh, wow. Now, Jamie's got that wonderful sighting of those leopards. Let's go have a look at what they're up to.
And look at what we've got here. Little Thamba in infrared, so that we don't have to sit and spotlight him. And what that means for some of our viewers that perhaps haven't been around for when we've been with younger leopard cubs, for leopard cubs, lion cubs of a certain age, hyena cubs, any young animal, we don't sit with a spotlight on them. And that's just because at that age they are still quite vulnerable, potentially to things like hyenas. And there is an idea that the the hyenas of the Sabi Sand in particular have learned to follow vehicle spotlights because it'll take them to a kill. So when leopard cubs are this young, when they're under a year old, then we do not spotlight them. We don't put a spotlight on them at all. Which is why we're so happy that we have the infrared, so that we can sit with 8 months old. Is he 8 months old? He must be. Born in July. Born in August. September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, 8 months old. 8 and a bit months old. We can sit with him without having to worry. And he's got so much bigger than the last time I saw him, which I think was before he even got his name. I don't think I've seen him since he got his name. That was during one of our TV shows, just opposite Chitwa Dam. And just to let you know, Shungile apparently is moving further into Little Gowrie, which is good. You're moving west away from Thandi's territory. I don't know what Thandi would do if she encountered Shungile, but I don't think that she'd be terribly impressed with her in the middle of her territory. Despite the fact that Thandi is Shungile's older sister. I still don't think she'd be very impressed with an unknown female there. Hey, Thamba. Don't you want to turn back this way? No. I personally think that Thamba's ears, he's grown into them a little bit, I must say. But when I last saw him, Thamba's ears and paws, to me, were far too big for his body. And I was speaking to Tristan about it, and he said to me that Thandi's previous cubs have all been like that. Her previous male cubs. What was the one's name? Oh, it's just gone out of my head a second ago. Shame, the one that didn't make it. Wabayisa? Was it Wabayisa? Oh, did I make that up? Flop goes Thamba in response to my conversation. Jeepers, I can't remember now, off the top of my head. How ridiculous. I'm very sorry. I did know that name right up until 2 seconds ago when it went out of my head. Okay, well, Thamba's presented us with a somewhat uninspiring view, I have to say. So perhaps we should go back to his mum and spend a little bit of time with her and watch her, because he doesn't seem to be terribly interested in the whole looking at us deal. I was hoping at this sort of time of evening he might get quite playful and start wandering about, but it seems as though with a full belly from whatever it was that he was eating, he doesn't seem to be too keen on the whole jumping about deal. So let's go back around to where Thandi was. Perhaps we'll get a better view of her, and perhaps we can figure out how she got into that tree, into that position. And while we do that, Thamba's asleep, the lions are asleep. Let's go back and look at sleeping lions while I move.
Now these lions are still resting. Their heads lift up every now and then. Nothing too serious just yet. But oh, Jamie, that sounds like a wonderful sighting too, with leopards in a tree. We've got lions. What an eventful afternoon. These two males appear to be spooning. I'm not sure, two brothers. But like I said before, often these male lions are very affectionate. They do lie very close to one another. All that does is probably strengthens the bond between the coalition. You see, they do end up rubbing up against each other fairly regularly, grooming one another. That does happen too. All of that is to strengthen the bonds within the pride, or within the coalition especially. Now I can hear a fiery-necked nightjar in the distance. I don't think you would be able to hear it. It's very far. It's very faint. That wonderful, wonderful nocturnal sound of the nightjar. That beautiful nocturnal call. Like I said, it's a bit far, so I don't think you would be able to hear it. Hopefully one starts calling a little bit closer to us. Such a beautiful evening. Excuse me, sorry. Sure. Sometimes nice just to sit and listen to the sounds. Never know, we might hear some birds calling a bit closer. Maybe hyena. Let's listen for a minute. You might be able to hear the faint call of fiery-necked necked nightjars in the distance now. Alright, now everyone, I think we've sat for long enough with these lions. I don't think they're going to get up and move anytime soon, maybe in the next hour or so. But I think let's leave them, see what else we can find. While I do that, let's head back to Jamie, who's still got these paws dangling in the trees.
Beautiful, neat paws dangling from tree, but of course, as we said that, she moved. But that's okay, because we get to watch her come down from her somewhat precarious position in the Polterforum that she was in, also known as a weeping wattle. And I was right about Wabayisa. I just had a moment of confusion. And, of course, Bahuti being her surviving male cub as well. But it was Wabayisa that Tristan said to me was the one with the massive ears. So here comes Thandi, on her way down, hopefully on her way to fetch young Thamba. Where are you going, big girl? I love watching these sights in complete darkness with the infrared. It's such an eerie feeling. All I can see of her is a silhouette, just a flick of her tail every now and again against the sunlight. And yet I can see her perfectly on my monitor through the eyes of the camera. It does make for some truly special sightings. Now, as most of you know, Thandi's an interesting leopard. She's a leopard that requires and demands a slightly further level of personal space. She's more than comfortable to come up to the vehicles herself, but she does prefer to be allowed to move closer in sort of her own time and her own space. And if you don't allow her that courtesy, I've seen once or twice what happens, and she growls. She's never charged me, but it's one of my favorite things about her. I'm just keeping my lights on for now while I search for her, just to see where she's going. It's going to be very difficult for us to follow if she does move off. There's Thamba. Now, Maro, you want to know about the meanings behind Thandi and Thamba. Maro, Thamba, I believe, means boulder, and Thandi means the one who is loved. So Thandi means the one who is loved. Thamba, am I right about that? Thamba means boulder, and it was apparently given to him by the Chitwa guides on the basis that he was denned with his sibling close to or underneath one of the rooms, and there were lots of big boulders around. That's what I heard was one of the reasons why Thamba was called Thamba. Sorry, my boy. There we go. Lights off. There we go. Lights off. I don't know where Thandi went at all. She vanished. But Thamba is just there. I'm just going to use my spotlight to just quickly scan. Not shining on him. Just a quick scan. Sorry about that, Fergus. Now, Rakesh, you want to know how many leopards there are in our area. Well, Rakesh, we have, let's count. Karula, her 2 cubs. Tingana, okay, let's go females. Karula, her 2 cubs. Thandi and Thamba, these leopards here, in Kanyeni. Look, he wants to go pounce on his mum. Sorry, hold on 1 second. She must be just there. Here she is. Hi, girl. Such an amazing feeling. There we go. A portrait of mother and son. Sorry, I lost track of my counting. Karula, no 2 cubs. Thandi and Thamba. Shadow let's not count her young cub at the moment, just yet. Mbula, Tingana, Quarantine, not quite Kunuma. Let's stop counting Kunuma because we hardly ever see him. Nkanyeni, Vutomi. We're already on 11. Anderson. Hello, Thandi. Anderson male. Who've I forgotten? Shaluva. Not the Shaluva that was killed, the other Shaluva. Shaluva 2013. That's 13. And we could be talking about more as well. Those are just the leopards that I would say we see relatively regularly. But you'll probably find there's more than that. Sindile, for example, Shadow's young male, who comes and goes every now and again, as he should at that age, while he's looking for a nice territorial patch. She's giving him such a good bath. She's beautiful in this infrared. I'm just going to keep my voice down nice and quiet, because bear in mind I can't see her at all. Hi, big girl. Oh, she's going to lie right here. Just watching her body language. She's still looking at us. There we go. Amazingly, you're seeing that incredible reflection of her eyes, of the tapetum lucidum at the back of her eyes. Gives you an idea of how incredibly effective it is. And yet, she's not seeing any kind of a glow from us, just a sort of a dull red glow. And I know she is, because that's what I see. Amazing. She picked up on my movement immediately. I got bitten by a mosquito, so I moved my arm to my leg. And that was immediately her change in body language. Here we go, giving herself a thorough cleaning. Ah, that actually helps tremendously. Thank you, Fergus. I can now see her with my bare eyes. Just... Oh, did you get a mouthful of fur, girl? How amazing is it that we can sit in complete blackness and look at these incredible cats? I'm speaking very softly because she's come to sit right close to us. And as I said, Thandi is known for making her displeasure known. And she's never done it to me, but I'd prefer to keep it that way. It's very hard to gauge distance because I don't really want to turn too much without a door. I feel like the movement might startle her. There we go. That's her. Keeping an eye on us. Yeah, you see the movement did startle her a little bit. So the camera will just have to stay on her. Not too bad. She's back to washing almost immediately. I think she's used to vehicles sitting with a spotlight on or with their lights on. The sudden darkness must be odd to her, to have humans sitting without lights on. I'm going to sit here in the inky black and watch Thandi in green. Let's go and find out what Byron is up to.
There we go, look at this. I've just left the lines and in search of some chameleons or owls, anything nocturnal, but what a beautiful moonrise. Oh, that is amazing. Full moon. A lovely silhouette of that tree too in that light. That is incredible. It's going to be a really, really beautiful moonrise. I see a bad moon rising. Don't worry, I won't sing the whole song. Oh, that is lovely. Even if we come out a little bit more, you'll see there are two beautiful trees. A bug just flew, but look at that skyline. It's lovely. Fiery neck nightjar is calling. There was a scops owl calling. It's one of my favorite little owls. Christy, and you said, wow, how beautiful is this? And it is indeed, Christy. Glad you're enjoying it too. Hope everyone is. Might be able to hear the scops owl too in the distance. Grr, grr. You'll hear it calling every now and then. Really, really lovely. Good, you can hear it. Nice. See, so we got to hear the scops owl in the distance, the fiery-necked nightjar. There's also water thickneys. They are nocturnal, they call at night. Really, really a wonderful amount of different bird calls that we're hearing at the moment. That's great. Let us continue our search for the wonderful little nocturnal animals. Lily, well, the moon appears yellow or orange or red at times because of the light that is basically being reflected through our atmosphere. So there's a lot of dust and that in the air at the moment, and all of that changes the colors slightly. So for the moment, it appears, when it's close to the horizon like that, it appears this orange, yellow, beautiful color, and because of the light being reflected through the atmosphere and through all those particles that are in the atmosphere. But as it gets higher, that moon will very soon start to go that beautiful bright white color almost. So it's just for now when it's on the horizon directly opposite the sun. Alright, I'm going to continue our search now. Let's head back to Jamie with those beautiful leopards.
I wonder what Thandi's plans are for the rest of her evening. Is she going to sleep off one very full belly, or is she going off in search of her next meal? Right now it seems as though her short-term goals are getting or one of her short-term goals is getting very clean. As clean as she possibly can. This is where leopards are truly very fastidious. I can hear some elephants trumpeting off in the distance. I was going to say something. Oh yes, about Thamba's name. Sorry, I should probably have clarified that with Thamba, I said the Chitwa guides chose it. What I meant by that, of course, was that it was chosen by a viewer vote with the viewers of Safari Live. However, the options were chosen by the Chitwa guides. So they were selected by the Chitwa guides first, and then the name was, I think it was one of three, the name was voted upon. I can also hear music, which is really truly bizarre, because I can't quite work out where I'd be hearing music from. I mean, Cheetah Plains Lodge is not that far away from us, but I highly doubt it's them. Seems odd, considering they should all still be out on game drive. And I bumped into one of their hospitality managers who was on her way to go prepare for a drink stop for the guests to watch the sunset. I don't think it would be them playing music. It's just the drum beat that I can hear. And sometimes from Djuma we can hear the villagers' music on a Saturday evening. Oh, Thamba just gave a little stretch in his sleep. What do you have planned, girl? You gonna go back over and bother your son for a bit? Give him another bath. Another bath. He's a young boy. One bath is enough to keep him quite happy. I love watching the affection between mothers and cubs. Look at that belly. At least we know that whatever they ate, Thamba got plenty of it, and so did Thandi. Such a prehistoric image, that. Eyes glowing. You can still see she's breathing heavily, which is very, very typical of the big cats, or dogs, or hyenas, when they've had a large meal. Basically, all of that meat digestion creates huge amounts of heat, and the animal therefore has to pant to counteract it. As Thandi wanders off, I'm not going to follow her through the vegetation. It's going to be very tricky to do that. Let's go and have a look at Byron bathing in the moonlight.
Luckily, I'm not bathing in the moonlight just yet, Jamie. I don't think we'd have any viewers left. But we have got this beautiful moon silhouette against the tree. And look, there's a lovely little bit of cloud, wispy cloud through the moon, or in front of the moon rather. Really looks lovely. Mohammed, you asked, do the animals behave differently in the moonlight? Well, I don't think, in terms of different behavior, the animals would probably be a little bit more active because they might be able to see a lot better. Predators might not be as successful when it comes to hunting because they would be seen a lot easier. So I think that I would say is the difference in behavior. I don't think that any animals would go mad or crazy or anything like that. Not at all. I think it's just purely nocturnal behavior may increase slightly because it's easier for a lot of the animals to see. So that would be probably the biggest difference, I would say. Daniel, all the way from Scotland. Hello, Daniel. My tip of the day. Daniel, I don't know if it's fair to give a tip of the day yet. I only arrived this afternoon, so it's not quite a full day. I wonder. No. Daniel, I'll have to give a tip of the day tomorrow. I haven't given it any thought. I drove up from Johannesburg today. It's been quite a long day, actually. It's actually a long drive. So, tip of the day, if you can fly into the bush, choose the aeroplane. It's quicker than driving from Johannesburg up into this area. It is scenic though, and it's a beautiful drive. But if you want to get to your safari destination a lot quicker, choose the flight option. It is a bit easier. A lot of them you fly directly to the lodge. So that's really nice. So by that afternoon, if you land in Johannesburg at say 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, most international flights arrive in the morning. By 12 o'clock you're in the bush and you can enjoy a lunch, relax, and then that afternoon you're out on your safari. So, if you are coming out here, choose the flying option. Especially if you've only got 3 or 4 days, you want to capitalize on all the time you have. So that would be my tip, actually, Daniel. Alright, well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. We're going to head back to Jamie and those beautiful leopards. From myself, Byron, and Senzo, good night. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
We're having a look at the beautiful full moon rising up through the trees, and it really is utterly spectacular. In the meantime, Thandi has got up and wandered off, and Thamba is not there either. This is the problem with sitting in the dark. I'm just going to quickly check. Uh-oh. Whoops. Whoopsie. This is the problem with sitting in the dark, is leopards are so incredibly silent when they walk that if you can't see them moving, you're not going to know that they moved. And apparently they have moved. So unfortunately I was hoping to finish off your sunset safari with one last view of our utterly gorgeous leopards, but they appear to have given me the slip. But join us tomorrow on the sunrise safari. Perhaps we will catch up with them. Perhaps Shongile will make her way back towards Djuma. Who knows what on earth tomorrow is going to hold. But instead of looking at me in the green, let's scan and see whether or not there's any leopards. So thank you to Fergus for his wonderful camera work this afternoon. Thank you to Rebecca in final control. And most importantly, a big thank you to all of you, because without you, it simply would not be the same. Now, we might not have our leopards, but join us on the sunrise safari tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have all sorts of surprises off our sleeve. Bye-bye, everybody, and have an absolutely fantastic day or night wherever you are.